Jordan cursing. But no, the scientist dude might actually catch your eye, Bloodaxe, because like he was running around with some big ass heavy weapons, like big guns, and it looked pretty cool. And his special ability, UV light, is actually really freaking powerful. Like I've seen it. They were talking about how he slams it down and it flashes all the vampires, and makes them petrified. You can run up and hit them and they'll shatter. So, but the main thing is he was pulling out these big guns that were hitting like a tank. So he may be the heavy weapon specialist, and you and big guns.
Oh yeah.
Like that's your thing. Is you've always been a big fan of like give me a big pray and spray or explosive weapon, and I think that's his thing. The young lady with the robot pet, she's the healer. She's got a lot of support abilities. She can draw aggro. Like she can send it out, it'll aggro the enemies and distract them. Her special is a heal, so she's support. But it looks like the scientist guy with the experimental weapons is the heavy weapons, Big Bang. Melee plus high mobility character is the psychic young lady. The sniper is he's a sniper, spec ops. So I mean, looks fun. I've honestly liked what I saw. I watched some more Dead Island 2 footage, and there's 10 zones with you having to travel in between the zones. You actually had to like do it fast travel to go from zone to zone. So that's how the zones work in Dead Island.
But how big is each of the 10 zones, though?
I mean, here's a big part is that I was watching a guy who got to go and do a, play. He got to play it at one of the shows. They wouldn't let him show any of the footage. So he had to show the footage that they already did, the dev footage, because they wouldn't let anybody show the footage from when they played the game. And Xeno called that out immediately and said, that's a big red flag, that they don't want you to see how small the zones are or how not open, because why would you allow these reviewers to play the game and go back and talk about it, yet you won't let them show the actual footage? Because they know that people like us is going to pick that out. We're going to, because I'm going to be looking to see.
You're going to try to run down alleyways that are invisible walled and.
Well, for example, dude, 10 zones is a lot. So how big can these zones be? You feel me? 10 zones is a lot, man. That leads me to believe that some of them zones are probably like a single alleyway almost.
I don't know, man. We'll see. Anyway, let's get started. All right. Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Xenodamus. I'm here with
Q.
And on Skype.
Yeah, Bloodaxe.
All right. Let's get started. Give a shout
out real quick. Like, let's say we got on that Beat That Guy Gaming. Get the microphone out of my face. Hey, Beat That Guy Gaming. Where you at out there, Malcolm?
All right. Let's see. I didn't put these in any kind of order. So
we don't do order.
What do you want to talk about first? You point it out.
Saudi Arabia. Arabian
you just picked the first tab, didn't you? You're like, oh, that's the first tab.
I just wanted to have an excuse to get demonetized by singing Arabian Nights.
Oh, well, you're not good enough to get demonetized.
I probably can't get close enough to even be closer.
All right. So first up, we have Saudi Arabia is investing $38 billion to become a video game hub. So this is an interesting one. I know they've gotten into esports from there, and that has been ups and downs because of things that Saudi Arabia does.
They're less strict.
Yeah.
Little strict, a little bit.
So it'd be interesting to see it. Now, from what I read, it does seem like they're trying to target that area and not necessarily be a hub globally. Obviously, you want to eventually, but they have a number of gamers in that area. So if they can target their area first, it could be worth the money.
We're of two different minds on this, because I said, "Oh, that sounds awesome! Like it sounds good," and you disagreed. But honestly, I kind of don't think that's a bad thing, because one, more gaming is more gaming, and you know how sometimes you come up on a hit. It's by letting people get games out there, and every now and then something surprises you. More games is good.
Yeah, I'm not saying that as a negative. It's just, obviously, look, man, we're in the U.S., and you always, I guess, I root for the home team. I'm not going to deny it, you know. I mean, I expect people, if anybody in here is watching from some other country, they're rooting for the home team. So when you see a new company trying to take over a market or get big within a market, you know. Now, like I said, there's also some other issues with within the Middle East where this is coming from that has stirred things in the past. Now, it does say work together on publishing in the Middle East and North Africa. So, I mean, I don't know who else is in that area as a big publisher. So, I mean, it may work out for them. Now, as far as the game industry goes and game development, if they can spur game development out of North Africa and the Middle East, that's friggin' awesome. Just because it gives us a new area to get a new different type of lore. Like we've mentioned this in the past that you sort of see the same mythology,
same style, same locales.
Games. And there's a lot of other mythologies that are in Africa and the Middle East. And
just cultures, just the way people act and handle things. And see, that's the thing. See, I'm about to get in a little bit of trouble. Don't worry, not too much, a little bit. But because no, I gotta do it or Bloodaxe will do it and he'll make it worse. He's not he's not as diplomatic as me. But Bloodaxe, you know you're thinking it.
You're diplomatic?
Compared to Bloodaxe.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, on this topic. Because what me and Bloodaxe are thinking is, you know what kind of games are not gonna come out of the Middle East and Africa? You're not gonna see some of those Hollywood trends, I'll call them, coming out. These are gonna be fairly traditional games. You're gonna have good stories, usually some nice action, some nice drama, and nobody's gonna preach at you. And I'll play a game, I just want to have fun. And I would be shocked to see a game that was more interested in trying to change my mind on something or change my kid's mind on something out of these areas. If they make a game that's about racing, it's just gonna be about racing.
Yeah.
They make a game about stopping a bank robbery, it's just gonna be, you know what? They don't even have to worry about that because they don't have that many white people over there. So they don't even have to do any weird race swaps. You just put black people or Middle Eastern people in it in the first place. So they don't have these hang-ups. Well, no, just being honest, they don't have these hang-ups. So they don't have to diversify. They're already diverse.
So this paragraph here, this is Bloomberg reporting on this, and they actually mentioned, so Savi's plans are ambitious in a crowded market where longstanding players like Electronic Arts Incorporated are laying off employees. But the fund has already made multi-billion-dollar investment in game companies like Nintendo and Tencent Holdings.
Yeah, buy them suckers up. Heck yeah, now I'm on team. Now I'm team Saudi Arabia. Buy Tencent stock.
That doesn't mean they're buying any Tencent. They've made investments into Tencent.
No, I need to buy them up. Let's buy them. Let's do a hostile takeover. Come in the back door, take their company over. Next thing they know, they own majority of they.
Says the plans on leveraging those connections to build their business, and most likely they're publishing to them.
Long as they turn around and let them buy up their company, because Tencent's normally the one that's buying everybody else's dang stock.
Just saying, they're already in bed with Tencent, man, and you're praising.
This is where my conflict with my nationalism, and dislike of Tencent goes against what I don't like what my people are doing in my video games. Though it's like we'll get better games, but I don't know what to do. You're right. This is a conflicted subject.
So anyway, I mean it's an interesting topic nonetheless. But
what you got, Bloodaxe? I don't know, man. I'm torn.
Well, I think anything that expands things that we're interested in a capitalistic light, I'm for. Although I'm going to be completely transparent. I don't know much about the politics of the Middle East or if they're capitalistic or communistic or whatever it is for Saudi Arabia specifically. But anything that can help expand the gaming market to where we have more choices and more options, I'm always for. Because I think one of the things that we're kind of hamstrung here in the States is we have several studios, and some of those studios don't have my interest at heart, and I'm not their target audience, which is the polite way of saying what you were trying to say earlier. If we can find alternative methods to be able to enjoy games, because how many times have we been looking for a game to be able to play together and we've fallen flat because the gameplay's crap, the connection's crap, or the story is meh. So anything to breed competition, I'm always for, and I'm with Zeno. I would rather have it here in the States, but sometimes you gotta branch off a little bit to be able to find something that you can kind of escape into and enjoy yourself, which is something I think we've been struggling to do the past several months.
Well said, Bloodaxe. Maybe what we're not thinking about is that we're a competitive country. We're America, baby. Maybe we need this outside pressure to get some of that trash out of there, to get people to start making Forspokens and Last of Us 2s, and start making like proper games that'll actually make money. Maybe if the money starts filing out of the country and other companies are making the games, they'll go, hey man, we can't keep telling people to go jump in a lake and trying to market to 0.9% of the pop gaming community. We need to get the gamers to give us their money, which means we need to make a game they want to play. Simple as that. So maybe we need this. So you know what? Because you know what? I am also fair. Let the best person win. If we can't stop throwing money in a hole and going broke with bad ideas, then we don't deserve to be the top of the gaming industry. We don't deserve it. If you're going to be that stubborn, you're not even willing to people to tell you we don't want this game, then go out of business. Let them hire. They're offering jobs, because here's the thing. That's producing jobs. These game developers, like they just said, they can go over here. And I'm always saying people should be able to work. So I hope these game devs getting dropped after these terrible Saints Row reboots and other trash. I mean, God, if I sat here, I could list out easily probably 10 games that were just a trash fire on purpose. Like on purpose. Like when they came out with the idea, people said, we're not going to buy this. And they said, we don't care. And all those people that are losing their jobs because of this, they need a place to work. So, I know what? Whoever's willing to make the games I want to play, you will get my money. I'm not going to be unfair, because ultimately I want to be entertained, and that's who's going to get my cash. Because at least you respect me enough to make the game I want. And that's the truth. There's disrespect when you make these crappy games and people keep saying, please stop.
They're not, I don't, from what this seems like, they're looking at more into distribution and publishing than they are.
But this ain't really about them. This is just the overall, me and Bloodaxe are talking about the gaming industry in general, is that I'm going to support the companies that make games I want to play.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's esports or other competitive games, make anything to bring in some new points of view or some new life, or hell, even if you're targeting a different audience, there may be some things that we find interesting that maybe you're targeting towards Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. You never know. I mean, look at the Assassin's Creed games. I mean, they're mostly in that kind of that medieval Eastern time space, but I mean, they have a very rabid following. But anything that can breed competition, I'm for.
Correct.
If I don't like it, I won't buy it.
You said it well, man. Competition is a good thing. Maybe not so competitive that you're trying to screw people over like some companies.
Well, I mean, it's okay. So next up, we'll talk about.
I love catching you off guard.
Yeah,
see, I see you not paying attention.
Yeah,
I'm
over like here organizing things, and he starts throwing shade over here, and I'm just like oh crap! I don't know what's going on.
It was a segue into companies that are trying to screw over gaming developers.
So Monster Hunter, not Monster Hunter. God, I'm gonna screw this segue up.
No, why did they sue them? Why did they sue them?
Right? I'm gonna screw this segue up 100 different ways. But so anyway, Monster Energy tries to bully indie dev out of using the word monster. So this article came from PC Gamer. I've seen it bounced around the internet on a couple of different locations, but Monster Energy has sued a game for having Monster in its title.
Which, no, in a way, you kind of did something good, because why wouldn't they sue the game that has it in their main title, Monster Hunter?
Well, yeah.
Because Nintendo would clap them
There's
cheeks.
so many games that have Monster in the title.
That's because Nintendo would clap them cheeks, boy. Nintendo got lawyers.
There are games that have Monster in the title before Monster Energy Drink was even in existence.
Indeed.
But
no, they're saying that, they own Monster and Monstrous and Monstrosity.
So, I mean, from what I'm gathering, this isn't rumor. I mean, a lot of times you see this stuff and it almost sounds too stupid to be true. And honestly, reading this, I almost feel like this is too stupid to be true. But
also, you see the previous one. I remember that game, Phoenix Rising. I remember hearing about that. There was a game also called Immortals Phoenix Rising. Well, it is a game. It's actually out on Game Pass too. But it was initially called Gods and Monsters. They went after that indie dev to make them change their title.
Yeah, and I remember when that happened, actually. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. So, anyway, Coca-Cola and Monster Energy has targeted indie developer Glowstick Entertainment for the great crime of making a game called Dark Deception Monsters and Mortals. Founder and CEO Vince Livings posted about the legal threats. You see here where they've tweeted about it from the Glowstick Entertainment. Says we're getting press for the legal spat with Monster Energy. This type of ridiculous trademark trolling needs to be. So basically, they've pissed this dude off, and he wants to expose.
They also said that they also want to prevent him from using green and white logos on a black background. So apparently they own green and white as well.
You wanted to stop him from using the word monster, monstrous, monstrosity, and just very
energy game. No, okay, I'm making up those last few. But are they much more stupid than you can't use green and white?
But I mean, his current doesn't even have green
and white. No, it doesn't.
And they were talking about the M being similar, but obviously
the M is not 3 claw marks. The Monster Energy Drink logo is 3 claw marks that are parallel to each other, designed to make an M. That is not what that is. The only thing it has is a slight edge on the top of the M that looks a little bit like the first claw mark, but that is not
dragon head or something.
Yeah, well, all the letters have that sharp edge to it. But the key part is that the Monster logo, show them the can. Go back to the other shot. Show them the first tab. Right up. Theirs is actually 3 claw marks, if you didn't know. Theirs is 3 claw marks.
Yeah, here we got the pinkish, the can that sort of.
Well, they have every color. They have every damn color can. Look, they have every color can. So it's like, they're gonna find one. They do every dang color. When your cans come in a different color for every flavor, you're gonna cover the damn rainbow. But the symbol, if you do not know, is 3 claw marks. You can see it. You went in and you did that. It's 3 claw marks. The one on their game is not 3 claw marks, and they know that. Also, it's a game that's a video game about this, like, it's an offshoot of Dark Deception. It has nothing to do with energy drinks or anything at all. And when they did it to the Monsters and Mortals, they didn't even have that much. So they just like to bully for some weird reason small indie devs.
I do like this. Livings will be doing a live stream to raise funds for the legal fight later this month, where rather brilliantly, this is their words, not mine, he's going to play games with the word monster in the title.
You should play Monster Hunter.
So yeah, that's amusing. I don't know. I might tune in on that. That.
Yeah, when is that happening? We might need to live stream that. That sounds fun.
Says to help us cover our legal expenses I'm going to do a special Q&A live stream fundraiser on YouTube in April. During the live stream, I'll play some games that contain the word monster and discuss the trial. Emmy hates when their shady actions are made public. He doesn't say. I'm assuming You'll probably want to
We'll have to
follow
watch the
him
tweet.
on Twitter.
You're
to
a
get
Twitter
a-
guy, Bloodaxe. You keep an eye on that. We'll jump in. Maybe I'll play Monster. I'll go re-download Monster Hunter Rise and play it at the same time. I'll
Okay.
eat the energy Don Bomb. I'll be eating. I'll keep my energy up. Don't you do a stamina build, man? We could totally do an energy playthrough. All the stamina items. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
I'll put on my armor. You know what I'm saying? And we'll just roll our monster armor out on Monster Hunter Rise, taking our energy food in order to go hunt the monsters.
Oh, that's great. Now he's look at this. He's also including Red Bull and G Fuel. Says I'll share your products on the live stream free while I'm.
Well, I mean, you know what Red Bull hasn't done? They haven't went after people for having red in their title or bull or wings. It's good when a company lets you know that they're filled with jackasses. It is good, though. Because I always thought Monster Energy tasted horrible. And no, I'm not just saying this. It was nasty to me. I mean, you know me. I'm a Red Bull drinker. Like I do Jaeger bombs. So, I never liked Monster. I always thought it was disgusting. And now I found that the flavor is based on the company. It's a disgusting company with disgusting flavor.
Young Ye.
Yeah. Well, he was the one who originally had the video I was looking at about it. Yang Yan don't play that, man. He calls him out. I know. There used to be a time that J.S. Sterling would do the same. I hope they put out a video. I still am subscribed. Just they don't cover the game content like they used to. I really would like to see them because they used to be the one that would be at the head of this, like calling them out. And they might. I'll keep an eye out. But I mean, this is just some BS. He's gonna make a Mr. Beast character if he donates. Oh, he has some streamers. Like Dark Deception has he has a character based on 8-Bit Ryan, D Darko, and I think he has one based on who's the guy that does I'm having trouble with the names. I'm getting old, but like he's done that. There are streamers, YouTubers who have characters, so he'll do it. If he says it, he'll make a character. Like it's actually pretty cool.
But yeah, so I mean, he is fighting back. Apparently, he's even bringing up some posts from people 6 years ago who were also bullied by Munster. So maybe bringing some old bullying by them to light.
Well, let's call them on it, man.
I mean, they're owned by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has been known to do a lot of trademark, because it's one of those things they got to be careful because they've trademarked something, and if it does not, I remember there was a big thing on Coca-Cola a while. This was 10 years ago or so. But it's basically if the name doesn't stay synonymous with the brand, they lose their copywriting and stuff. So.
Yeah, but you're not gonna really keep Monster because the only thing I know Monster for is its claw mark and tasting like chemicals. That's all that I've ever known it for.
I don't do energy drinks, so I do coffee.
Coffee is better than both, true. But if Monster Energy made a coffee, it would taste like oil.
Well, no,
the stuff tastes like
you
chemicals.
don't need somebody to do coffee. You get beans and water, and you make coffee.
They do make a coffee. It's a cold canned coffee.
It is disgusting, I am sure. I will prejudge with no evidence. Well, my evidence is that if they can't make an energy drink not taste, I mean, energy drink just has to taste like a soda, and they failed.
I mean, my thing is coffee. You make it. You just make it. Don't buy pre-made coffee.
Oh man, I was gonna see if after the show you wanted to go to our coffee shop.
That's different. That's them brewing it right there.
They do brew it right there with water and beans.
So I don't have to. But I'm not buying it in a can or a bottle or
we brew it so you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's it. That'd be their catchphrase.
All right. Anyway, enough on that crap.
But
Fuck
Monster Energy. Oh, all right. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm saving mine F-bomb because, Sony's coming up eventually. Not right now, but they're down the road, and you know me, and I got to keep one for them.
Well, let's talk about Capcom.
F Capcom. No, until they give me another Mega Man. I want Poor kids today has been waiting on Mega Man Legends to get a proper sequel since he was a kid. I've been waiting on more Mega Man X. I don't like where they went.
Hey,
with
we
the-
got a remake of Resident Evil 4.
To give me a remake of Mega Man X.
I've heard it's really good, and
In first
everybody
person.
everybody talked really highly about it. You know, got some good reviews, and then right after they get the reviews, they added microtransactions.
Yeah, did you know what it's Bloodaxe? They waited. They've learned to put the microtransactions out after people review the game. And yes, it is pay to win. You can like use money, according to Xeno, you can use money to upgrade your weapons so you don't have to go through the process.
Here is Reddit where this guy posted it up on Twitter. So this is so you can see like $7. Here's your ticket to the gun show, specifically a ticket to be redeemed at the merchant shop. With this, you'll have access to weapons exclusive upgrade at any time, regardless of the weapon's level.
Oh, it is an exclusive upgrade. So
Yeah.
wait, so it's one you can't get in game? Wait a minute now. That's way different from merely an upgrade. Is it actual exclusive up? The way that's worded, it's hard to say if they just mean it's exclusive to weapons or if it's a upgrade that can only be got by the purchase.
It says you'll have access to a weapon's exclusive upgrade at any time, regardless of the weapon's level.
I think they just mean
I think it's the weapons exclusive.
Okay,
upgrade.
good. Yeah. Okay.
So
No, that's good
weapon
because
exclusive.
'cause
So
as long
this
as it's not-
weapon has a exclusive upgrade.
that's fine. Because I mean, I don't like it when there's content that's not available. That tends to annoy me. I don't mind if it's later down with a season pass, but you know, if it's
So
base
specifically
game,
a
it feels
ticket
like
to
it
be
should have been there.
Yeah, a ticket to be redeemed at the merchant shop. With this, you'll have access. The free coupon. Let's see. The free of charge point is in reference to the game currency, as one ticket will set you back $2.49 or £2.49. Set of three.
About
will cost
$3,
$5.
$6, or $8.
Well, I mean, we
so.
saw the American prices there. That's the
So I mean, is it just a single upgrade or is it upgraded all the way? Because I'm like, I spend $3, man. That sucker better be.
And it says, to be clear, you can easily beat the game without unlocking any of these upgrades. So don't feel you need to pick them up in order to do so. Even on the harder difficulties, these micros.
Oh, that's what it is. Is every weapon has exclusive upgrade once you max out its regular upgrades. This allows you to skip straight to the exclusive upgrade.
Yeah.
Like maybe explosive rounds or a laser sight. And that's kind of cool. I mean, getting exclusive ability for the game, but you can get it in game for 100 pesos after you max it out.
And so
it's
it
basically
saves you about 100,000.
The in-game money.
Yeah.
In-game money. Gold coins. But, so basically you can unlock a special ability for the weapon way before you're supposed to. It's not necessarily pay to win. It is a single-player game. But as you were saying, the big thing about it, some of them are good, like double the ammo capacity or a hand cannon gaining unlimited. Oh, crap, unlimited ammo. Okay, that's a game breaker.
Yeah.
I played Resident Evil 4 originally, and unlimited ammo in any gun would break
So
that
it's like,
game.
if you don't want to challenge, you just want to beat the game and say you beat the game, you can pay. And you can easily beat the game.
The key part isn't that, because you know what? I don't have a problem with any of that after the game's been out for a while. But
it's just how shady they
the review
did.
after the reviews,
Because, some people, okay, look, I don't care. I don't. Because, yes, it's a single-player game. I make games harder for myself all the time.
I'm a grinder, so I mean, I level stuff up.
Yeah. Now, because sometimes you'll challenge yourself. If it's a game you really like and you've already beat it, you'll go, well, I'm gonna play this game, but I'm not gonna do blah, which is something that makes the game harder. And so
I'm gonna beat this game with a knife.
Yeah. Or beat the game with melee only, something like that. Now, with this, they basically gave people an option after the fact. Doesn't affect anybody because, like you said, it's a single player game. But they were so determined that to save those few reviews that were gonna bitch them out for adding DLC to a game. And I do get they added DLC to a game also that is a remake of a game that did not have microtransactions to begin with. So I can get where they would got some bad reviews for it. Now,
when did it come out?
Obviously, this also makes you feel like it's such a money grab though, because it's like they throw this in like they're that worried about those few reviews, or they want all those people to spend money who wouldn't because they had microtransactions, and then they sort of did it under the cover.
Well, let me see how long it's been out, because honestly, for me, a big factor is the release date. Okay, Resident Evil release date was March 20. Okay, no, that's too damn soon. All right,
yeah, it's a week after.
That's too damn soon. No, that's too damn soon.
Or 2 weeks after.
Look, I've went back and played some Tales games that had been out for a while that I played back in the day. And they had some microtransactions that I've said, I'm going to play this again. But I already played through it. I already had done the hard work. I'd grind. I'd use my skill 1,000 times. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw there was some little upgrades, and I was like, you know what? I got it. I think I got it on Game Pass, so I already didn't have to pay for it. I dropped $5. So like I said, second playthrough. I don't feel like spending as much time on that. But the game came out like 2 years ago. So they made the money. They got the reviews. You want to put out some stuff then, then that's okay. But like a week later, that's some crap that you hid from the people. That is. No, I got to call that what it is. That is, you already had it ready. It probably was already in the game, just locked behind a folder. You waited till everybody said the game was really good, then you released it. Normally, when you see something like this, it comes out as part of a season pass, and it's like a month or two later. Most people have played the game, probably beat it. You feel me? So that it isn't pay to win, because most people have already beat the dang game. If you're still trying to beat the game 2 months later, you probably need the dang, the bonus, and I don't mind. But this should have been at least 30 days to not seem so greedy. A week? Man, come on, buddy. You a minute, man. You ain't got no patience. You need to learn how to hold out a little longer. Like, you couldn't even go a week, Capcom?
Yeah, like I said, it was about 2 weeks.
2 weeks is still too soon. It should have been like normal DLC time releases, a couple of months, so that it doesn't look like you always intended to do it. At least learn how to fake it. Be like, you know what, guys? We decided to do this. They had this ready. Do you really believe, Bloodaxe, do you really believe they managed to get this DLC ready in a mere 2 weeks and get it out?
Oh, hell no. No, not at all. But as long as it's not PvP, I don't care. Because how many times have we covered where video game journos are complaining about a game being too hard? If they need to go into cheat mode, let them go into cheat mode. I don't care. Whatever makes it fun for them, because, the challenge that we kind of bump up to when we start playing a game is not what everyone else likes to experience. Some of them just want to go through the story. So if you want to pay the extra $3-4, I don't care, as long as it's not something that's going to give you a competitive advantage over somebody else.
Or something that they made it harder for me to do, you know what I'm saying, so you could buy it. Because me, let's be honest, out of all three of us, I'm the maniac who'll max the dang game out on the first map if I can grind. I'll do that. I'll keep going and getting money and upgrading the gun.
They didn't Warner Brothers it. With what was that? The Lord, the Ring one. It was a sequel of the good Lord of the Rings one.
Lord of the Rings, Shadows of Mordor.
Shadows of Mordor, yeah.
Or Shadows of War, I think. Was the second
Shadows
one.
of War, where they made it where it was like painfully grindy if you didn't.
Almost impossible. Like the in-game challenges were nearly impossible to properly grind through on your own. They didn't do that. So that's my thing. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go boycott the game. I'm merely saying, here's my problem. This is them sticking a toe into it. If it works, next time they might do a little more Shadows of Mordor,
Yeah.
Shadows of War.
I mean, it makes you lose trust because it was something they held back because they knew it was going to cause issues, and they waited for the game sales to hit where they were going to hit. And then they just sort of snuck in microtransactions 2 weeks later. Very shady, very concerning for future games.
For example, they do have a mercenary modes in the game. Mercenary modes, if I'm right, has a scoreboard. So will the next one affect Mercenaries?
Well, Mercenaries was the DLC they added this with.
Yeah, but I think the way they're talking, that's for the main game.
Yeah.
But if they put out the next one for Mercenaries,
Sure.
it could affect those leadership boards. It'd be like in Gears, if I could buy. Well, Gears actually had the experience booster, but that wasn't a big factor. That wasn't necessarily in-game advantage. But if you could,
these microtransactions drop the same day as a Mercenaries mode, a classic mode. The challenges you on surviving against hordes of enemies.
And see, people do speed runs of that. People do speed run videos. They do score videos. They challenge it. So, will the next one affect Mercenaries? Is the question.
Well, I mean, it sounds like. I mean, are you saying you don't think?
No, because you don't have the merchant. The Mercenaries doesn't play like that. It plays different. Okay. No, they're talking about upgrading your guns that way. In Mercenaries, it's a whole different system. The way it works. And they would have said something because Mercenaries, people do compete. People try to be the fastest in the world. And if there was something that allowed you to build your score faster, because it's like a challenge mode. And you don't even go through the main game. It's on a separate map. So, but they stuck the toe in. Will they stick the balls in next and go for a little bit worse is the question. So let's see.
Speaking of sticking toes in and going just a little bit worse, we know our good friend Sony is still at trying to be a D-bag, and Sony throws shade at Microsoft and Nintendo in new published patent. So basically, they published a patent for a universal controller that will work across a number of devices, from consoles to various entertainment apps. However, the filing also strangely refers to basically anything that is not a PlayStation product as inferior.
But that can't be the case, you know? Bloodaxe, that can't be the case. They're about to get overturned in the market by Microsoft, remember? They're about to be pushed on their monopoly. They can't even keep a straight face, can they? Now they're outright saying we're better than everybody. Okay, then.
Yeah. I remember we talked about that at SciFiCon about that situation, which we never really covered, did we?
Also, man, like PlayStation is not known for having good controllers.
Oh no, their controllers blow.
Like nobody I know that plays on Xboxes and PlayStation prefers PlayStation controllers at all.
Regardless, the patent cites a PC, PS2, PS3, PS4, PSP, and PS Vita as examples of potential devices that the controller can be used with. I don't know why this needs a patent. Like a bunch of different
or a home entertainment system of a different, albeit inferior wow. That's not normally the kind of language you put in a patent.
Or a home entertainment system of a... All right. I mean, dude, there's already controllers made to work with like third-party controllers that can switch. Plus, I mean, the Xbox controller works with PC and
of course, it's made by Microsoft. How can you even try to claim your controller is going to work better on a PC than a controller made by the people that make the PC?
But yeah, it's interesting.
And they're talking about it's future proof, but I'm like, you can't even say that because you say it works with PCs and Microsoft makes Windows. Doesn't that mean Microsoft can purposely make a Windows update that doesn't work with your controller?
You can already have a PlayStation controller on PC.
I know, it's just the trash talking of future proof when Microsoft could totally sabotage that if they wanted to. And be like, yeah, the next Microsoft Windows update happens to make PlayStation controllers not work. Oops. Guess you're not future proof.
Apparently this was published like back in June of 2022, so it's not necessarily a continuation of their Microsoft Blizzard Entertainment struggle, but it's just funny to see, and yeah, it is interesting to go. Yeah, we're gonna try because a lot of if you're gonna do this, you're gonna have to get license for whatever you're working with, and you just called them inferior in your patent, so that's not the brightest of moves. But on top of that, I don't know.
And one of those people you're calling inferior is like one of the largest PC producers in the world? These guys have lost their ever-loving mind. I'm not even upset with them. I'm just like, are you okay, Sony?
I mean, they're also. I mean, they brought up stuff. I think they were throwing shade at the U.S. for allowing the the Microsoft Activision buyout. I saw an article the other day about them throwing more shade at the U.S. about allowing that. So they're still butthurt over that stuff.
What the fuck you gonna do, Sony?
So
do something then, bitch.
It's interesting to see just Sony just falling down this spiral of bad attitude. You know?
What are they gonna do? They can't do nothing else. I don't give a crap. We'll block your whole dang system. We don't need your crap anyway. I play Xbox. Well, you know what? Why don't you take your dang company and go jump in the lake then? We don't want you over here anyway. Nobody wants you over here. We got that over there based in California. Take your ass back to Tokyo.
Damn.
Well, no, now I'm getting sick of this. Now they're throwing shade at US too. Like, they already, the exclusive of all the games, talk a lot of mess, don't want to port games over to English because they think we're stupid. Man, then don't ask for our money. At least 10 cent got the nerve to shut the hell up and take the money. They ain't talking no trash, are they?
I have no idea what you're talking about. You're just rambling.
I hate Sony.
I know you do. It's all right. It's all right. All right. So, last up, you know, we'll save the best for last. Let's talk about the latest in D&D. D&D reworks half species due to inherent racism.
Life sucks. I love my kids, though. Thank God I had them because they're taking everything else away from me.
They said, frankly, we are not comfortable and haven't been for years with any of the options that start with half. The half construction is inherently racist, so we simply aren't going to include it in the new player's handbook. Because apparently by saying that I'm half something, that is inherently racist. Fun thing is it's sort of in an off way. They are right. The original write-ups for halves recognized that there was racism in the world. I remember reading, when I was young on that and reading about halves. They mentioned like
half elf and
half elf was something that was mentioned. It was like, oh well, they're half elves to the humans. The elves call them half human, because they're so. And there was there was a racism chart in D&D where it talked about other races, relations with other.
Well, because racism is real, it exists. Yeah. And you can try to keep acting like it isn't, but to me, that's not the right attitude to act like racism doesn't exist. I don't know what they're doing, dude. Whose side are you on? Because it's like racism exists. Now you're a racism denier, and that's an odd direction to take. Because it's like, no, half-elves and half-orcs suffered racism. It was a real thing. When you played that character, you usually were playing it because you wanted to play a character that faced and preferably overcame these issues because they're a real-life situation. I guess in the truth, though, I guess this goes back to fantasy doesn't have to imitate real life. True. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, shouldn't we make that decision instead of you constantly taking everything out because we're not able to be trusted to be responsible with these things?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know to what extent they're removing the. I know they're removing the moniker, which is sort of half-assed anyway. But yeah, I don't know, dude. They're doing weird stuff over there. They're still doing weird stuff over there. They've been doing weird stuff over there for a while. It's why we quit playing. And it's just whenever they bring this stuff up, it just seems so nonsensical to me. But I mean, I'm also pretty well done with D&D. I would have liked them to. I mean, I've always had a complaint about the D&D systems anyway. Like I started back in advanced D&D is when I started, and with advanced D&D, I got used to a system, and they sort of built on that system in second ed, not really going that far off of it, but and then third ed was still somewhat around it. They took some of the things that people didn't. That people had hang-ups and thought the game was difficult about and tried to smooth them out a little bit.
Paco.
but the general idea of the system was still there. Then 4 went off weird, and then 5 they redid a lot of the rules, and I'm just like, man, you had a good rule system with second ed and third ed, and you seem to be shaving it in a reasonable amount, and then you just did something completely different. And I'm assuming it has to do with the open license stuff, a lot of it, and how, what they wanted to be able to copyright and stuff like that is all I can assume, because there's no other reason you abandon a detailed system like that had a lot of good options that you could have just fine-tuned instead of doing whatever the fuck you did with it.
Instead of just making something totally different. Yeah. And before we give it over to Bloodaxe, that's my thing is that, look, it ain't a big deal. It really isn't. It's not a big deal. It's just that when you add up all of this, it isn't D&D anymore. Like, they changed the orcs. They changed the drow. They changed everybody. Now they're taking stuff out. They made the elf god androgynous. Actually switching genders, which really makes some of the other story elements not even work anymore.
Trying to get rid of good and evil. And
want to get rid of the alignments. Now we got Obold. I may have been an orc. He may not have been a half orc, but, we had, like I said, in Dragonlance 10, it's half elf. We our boy Bloodaxe, when we get to him, plays half elves all the time. So you have, more changes. And these changes, I will say this once. You're not going to hear my usual rant. I'm just going to say this once. Not a single one of those changes was necessary. Every single thing they're changing was unnecessary because we are adults, and even when I was a kid, we just didn't cover the stuff we didn't like. That's all it is. You just didn't put it in your game. When you come to me and you say, we're going to take this out, what you're saying is, you're racist and we can't trust you with this. So we got to change this because you're going to do something bad with it. And that's what I hear, because I'm like, why do you need to take off half elves and half orcs? Whether there's any actual racism in the game is going to be based on the DM and the players. And taking them out ain't going to stop the racism. If they're racist, they're going to be racist. Do you really think you're stopping anything? You're not. So it's unnecessary. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's just unnecessary. Go ahead, Bloodaxe.
Oh, no, it's I can remember pouring through books trying to find the perfect race to match the character concept that I want with special abilities, attribute bonuses or drawbacks and stuff. And now it's basically you're not going to have the ability to be able to get creative like that. It's just pick some random generic character and call it what you want, describe it how you want, and it doesn't make really a difference. Versus when you see a dwarf, you're probably not going to poison a dwarf. They're going to be able to find stone imperfections in stonework and stuff. Elves can just walk past secret door and find them. Now you're not going to have any of those abilities anymore. And it's not going to be poring over books to find the best sub elf in order to meet your class, whether it's a wisdom bonus or intelligence bonus or a strength bonus. So it's not the games that we grew up on. And if we're no longer the target audience, then just like Mark, Zeno was saying, they're not going to be getting our money, which is another reason why a lot of these other companies are now starting to do their own game licenses, is because of the things Wizard of the Coast is doing is chasing away their customers, and other companies are going to open their arms and welcome into their fold and give them kind of what they're used to or what they're expecting in a game, and This is just more stupidity on my part as far as Wizards goes, and I don't understand it because you're right. The game master is going to be able to have a world and develop the way that they wanted to. I mean, when I used to run, I used to have a whole halfling anti-magic section that you guys refused to go to because you were terrified of the halfling inquisition. So you can be the GM should be the curator of the amount of racism or adversity, or even give the players challenges. Like when Jarek was playing a paladin in Ravenloft, which is something you don't do, and you challenged him and rewarded him for playing something that's going to be complicated and tough to do. And they're eliminating a lot of those options for players and for GMs to be able to make a memorable gaming experience. Now it's going to be roll a die and see if you hit, and it's not going to be nearly as fun as it used to be.
And looking at this, our boy Zeno just found out what they're planning going to do with 1D&D, where apparently you're just going to be able to mix and match all your racial traits and visual traits. Yeah. Which means there will be no racial culture anymore. Yeah, because if you could just have dwarven race traits and look like an elf.
And this is where I assumed they were going. And I think my issue with this is it destroys building a continuity in the lore and all that.
Culture, world building.
So when you're telling a story, like, honestly, if I make a game, if we ever finish making a game system, I mean, in the background, this is how I would make races and by piecemealing things together like this. And then your settings, though, would still have
pre-made
sets, which you would have your halves, because otherwise you can't really create a good story if, these elves all have this, and this elf has this when no other elf has, and there's no reason why. It's just because that's how they built this. And, there's certain set things we've tied to these races, and the reasons we have is because it all tells a story. It's the same reason why we had inherent evil creatures. It's why we had, things that were, these people don't like these people. It's because it tells a story. It creates a world. It creates a universe. It's world building.
And it's how for those of you out there that used to play, my boys, y'all can play along with this. So you're walking down the road and you're about to go to an area and you're visiting a dwarven stronghold. Now for us who played D&D, we imagine on the way in that we're going to see elaborate stonework, ironwork, dwarves, long beards, axes and the armor and the shields, vigilant and on guard. When you go in, you expect to hear the clanging of forges, hammer on anvils, maybe deep dwarven songs about the pride of the clan. You walk in, you sit down, you enjoy some strong dwarven ale. All of these are cultural traits that are built because we know what a dwarf is. If you go to an elven forest, you expect a beautiful natural environment. Animals living alongside people in harmony. Natural foods. Vegetarian fare. Beautiful elven music. People running around. You can't tell how old they are because it could be in a 500. They could be 20. You expect this peaceful, in tune with nature culture. That is because you built a culture. That's because when you look at the race traits, you see that elves live a long time, are beautiful, have a charisma bonus, or may be able to speak to animals. You look at dwarves, they're resistant to alcohol and poison and can carve stone and heavy armor.
These things are so set in our minds and built up over the years that if you read, I read a lot of different isekai and stuff like that type novels, or transported to another world. And it's one of the common tropes that a lot of those does is they take a race that we know how from other literature what to expect from that race, and they flip it in that world. Now the thing is that world still has a set for that race.
It's just not what you usually.
It's just not what you see in the set over here.
And it only works because you expect the other, because that's what you normally expect. of this race. For example, the elves are usually good. So in this world, the dark-skinned elves are not evil, and the light-skinned elves that are walking around looking all blonde-haired and blue-eyed are as evil as heck. That's because they were able to defy the trope through the fact that the trope exists. But when you don't even have racial traits, here's what I'm going to say the word, here's what the woke mentality style does. It creates a situation where there's no creativity. The reason why is because there's no expectation. You walk into a room, I see a dude that looks like a halfling. He may have stone cunning and breathe fire. So I don't know what to expect from him. I don't know what to expect from this big, tall person. Look at that dude, 6'7", he's got tusks, that strength of 4, intelligence of 22. You know, you're like, at this point, you don't even know what to expect. So you can't even barely tell a story because there is no expectations. Look, the key to even being diverse is to have a foundation to start with and then differ. That's how you be different. There has to be a norm to be different from. Yeah. There has to be a norm. You have to look at people and go, a normal person wearing plate mail and a sword is a fighter. The fact this dude's throwing fireballs is how he's not. But if that's not a norm, then there are no norms. So your story is really going to be hard to be interesting. I have no expectations of anything. When I sit at your game, I just go, anything can happen and nothing makes sense. Now tell me a story, clown boy. And then the DM's sitting there and he's got this super diverse world. But when he tells a story, he's like, man, nobody's really getting into it. It's like, because you have no foundation. You have no history. You have nothing to pass on or build onto. How do I make a unique character? You know what they were saying? If everybody's special, no one's special. I like to make weird characters. Bloodaxe is my witness. He knows I like to be unusual. If it's a world where everybody's got guns and swords, I want to punch people. If it's a world where everybody's punching people, then I want to run around and cast magic. I like to be different. What D&D has taken from me is the ability for me to be diverse and different because there is no norm to deviate from.
You remember, now Michael O'Brien says in the chat room, Baldur's Gate, I always played a female half-elf human, fairly resistant with charm and magic resistance and intelligence to boot. If you play a single-player race, you face a much more difficult play. Half-elves were very acceptable in Baldur's Gate. And that's one of the things, if you ever look, I mean, you look at the city breakdowns in D&D or in Forgotten Realms, they even had your racial structure, you know. Oh, well, Baldur's Gate, mostly human. Then half-elves is another relatively common race in Baldur's Gate. Then you have something like a Minotaur you don't see in Baldur's Gate. So if you go and you play a Minotaur, you're probably going to have problems showing up to Baldur's Gate as a Minotaur, or you show up as a...
Sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
Some of us want the challenge. We're not punks like y'all that can't handle a little bit of hard time.
Yeah, you show up as a half-orc, there's probably going to be some issues that come around because orcs have a bad reputation in Forgotten Realms.
And you don't really get along with the orcs either, so you get to have beef with both sides.
And because orcs look drastically different than everybody else, people have trouble telling half-orcs and orcs apart, and orcs can spot it right away. So,
yeah, no, it was hard being a half-orc. I enjoyed it.
Being a half-orc, yeah. Now they had some massive benefits to playing them because of the strength and all that. They got their bonuses.
Ferocity.
Yeah. And, I mean, you even see later on, I think in 3rd ed, they started implementing where you could add some additional features where, I'm a half-orc, but I have more of the human traits than I do the half-orc traits. So it would allow you to sort of play around with that a little more, customize a little more without breaking lore.
Making a unique half-orc, which is the point. But if there is no standard, you can't be unique. What they're actually doing, which I find very amusing because it's the opposite of diversity, they're making it so you can't be diverse because there is no standard. So no character follows any theming. With no theming and no standard, how are you going to make a history? Oh, what's this nation like? Oh, see how big my eyes are? It has people. Okay? All right, is it a good nation? We don't use those words. We don't use good and evil.
It's very diverse.
What about the one on the other coast? It has people.
Also very diverse.
It is very diverse. What about the southern nations? It has people. It's very diverse. What about underground? It has people. Like, that's what they're doing, though. What are the Drow known for? I don't know. For all we know, they may, not even have dark vision. It's bubbling around in the dark because they can't see in the dark because, nothing matters.
But then, once again, like you said, you're losing a different kind of diversity, though. We saw that you had a city where halflings were the most prominent in that city. You had diversity that way by different areas. Well, why is halflings the most? Well, because the city is near, the area where all this other halfling history happened. There's this great bridge over here that's, has all these dwarven historic ties to it. So this became a heritage trip for a lot of dwarves. So you see a lot of dwarves in this town, and you had...
Which was a unique sight to see dwarves on the surface because that's not the norm.
So you'd see like this, and it became a diverse world instead of...
Drizzt is only special because he's not evil and he's a drow. That's it. Now, his character grew, but his whole initial thing is somebody said, what if a drow wasn't evil? Not the drow, a drow. When you play Dragon Age, what's the thing? Surface dwarves. That's a big deal. Why are these dwarves on the surface? That's the point. It's how you make that unique character. Some of our favorite characters aren't normal. Why do we like Spider-Man? Because he's young and broke. He's not the old school trope of, I'm a rich billionaire with a bunch of money, or I'm Tony Stark. No, poor kid, living with his auntie, doing bad in school because he's missing class, not getting the girl all the time. Spider-Man, possibly the most popular superhero in the world, is based on the concept of doesn't get the girl, is smart but does bad in school, is broke, has a crappy job, is young, and
gets bullied.
Go ahead. Go, man. I'm saying he's literally a defied trope. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, Peter Parker gets bullied in school, something that most of us that are geeks can all identify with. We were all looked upon as, Geek Squad or inferior because, we got into D&D. We didn't go out drinking and
once again, define that trope because he gets bullied in school, but he's also the toughest guy there.
Yeah.
But he also understands that, he shouldn't be using his power because it's not responsible. And he struggles with trying to fit in because he is not only a geek and unique, but he also has something no one else has, and so trying to fit in anyway. And it's something that we can all identify with is, trying to find our way in the world with our unique gifts. And that's what made Spider-Man so special. And one of my little ones, that's his favorite character. His favorite character out of all the different franchises is Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And he loves everything Spider-Man because he kind of identifies with that type of that place. And if you don't have those special qualities to where you can break the norms that are expected of whatever whatever your race or whatever your color is or whatever, then nothing's extraordinary at all. Everything is just whatever. And it's like if you were to meet me and Xeno in a dark alley, you'd be afraid of us. But you know what? Xeno would have to probably whip your ass, and I'm just a big teddy bear. But if you look at me, you wouldn't think that I'm actually someone who's actually probably more gentle than he is. You try to hug me, I'll probably give you a hug. He'll slug you in the face. So just because of what you see is not what you get, is what makes those types of interactions special. And that's what makes being able to role play things that break the norms special and entertaining.
Well, yeah.
And you can tell stories about and actually get into those characters, which now it's just, okay, now we're going to buy a module, you're going to roll dice and just make whatever you want, and there's nothing unique about what you're doing other than you're going through a module, an adventure.
Well, you lose so many triggers for story and stuff like that, but like if I walk into a town and this town has nothing but humans or has no half breeds or something like that, you throw a trigger like out that to a party and they're like, wait, there's no one who's a half, that's scary. There's something up, or there's only humans here, or there's only halflings here. There's only,
you walk around town with just halflings, you're like, something's going on.
Something's weird. Something's up, because we have these ideas in our head, that because we've created a story, we've created a lore, we've created a diversity, we've created this environment, and you're going to start losing that, and you might as well not have settings anymore.
Well, here's the thing. We mentioned some iconic characters, guys, and I want actual answers to this. Tell me how in this current way they're going to do making characters, how do you become an iconic character? How do you be defined? How do you have defining traits that stand out?
I mean, dude, we could talk an hour on that. That's a very.
I mean, it's a short. You can't. To me, your character can't be unique because there are no unique characters anymore. For example, before this, if there was a human who could breathe fire, we would be like, dude, there's a story to that. What's up with that? Why could he? Is he secretly a dragon? Is he a half dragon? Is he cursed? You would be very curious about a human that breathes fire pre-Wizards of the Coast punking out. But now, your human breathes fire. Your dude looks human and breathes fire. Okay, I could have got that too. But it's option 3.
Yeah.
Oh, you have stone cunning? Yeah, I did. Option 2.1. Yeah. You're not special, buddy. You're not a unique character. I want to make you a unique character. Wrong game. Wrong game.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here, man. I mean, I obviously I think this group here we all know D&D is lost our
Kobold Press, man.
Yeah,
come on, Harry.
Well,
come up with
maybe.
the new games.
Who knows? I mean, but we'll see what people have to offer. And as new things come out, we'll take a look at it and we'll let y'all know what we think.
Then we'll show you what a real system looks like.
All right, and that's going to wrap us up. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out Dicejunkies.com where you can find links everywhere we are online, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on our YouTube channel so you can see all the stuff that we post. And as everyone